Hey, everybody, welcome to the Simplified podcast. I'm Matt from Training Simplified, and I'm stoked today to get to talk to Adam Klaers, Executive Vice President of Roy Rogers Restaurants. Adam has 20 years of leadership experience in the restaurant industry where he's held leadership positions and brands of all different and various sizes. He is the current Executive Vice President at Roy Rogers Restaurants, where he oversees several critical departments, including marketing, franchise development, training, and operations. So it's a lot. Adam, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Glad to be here.
Let's just dive in right off the bat. For people who aren't familiar with Roy Rogers Restaurants, a lot of people know the name Roy Rogers. It's a very familiar name. What's the background, the history of the brand?
Yeah, we've got really kind of a unique background. For some of your listeners, they might remember Roy Rogers from the late 70s. Originally, Roy Rogers was a brand of Marriott, owned here out of Bethesda, Maryland. So Marriott owned and operated a number of off-premise concepts, Roy Rogers being one of them. And it was run by a gentleman by the name of Pete Plamondon Sr. He was a Marriott executive and ran all of their off-premise locations. In the 80s, Marriott decided to sell off all of their Roy Rogers locations to Hardee's. So they were going to separate. And I was not there, was not part of it, but as we've all faced trials and tribulations in our own careers, they came to Pete Plamondon Sr. and said, your job, your role, we don't have those stores anymore.
Yeah.
As a consolation, they gave him the rights to start a Roy Rogers in Frederick, Maryland, just up I-270 from DC. So he came home, and the way that he was going to make it work, he had a daughter at Dartmouth, a son at Georgetown Prep, and another son that was at school at college, and came home and said, I don't have my job anymore, but here's what I do have. I got a chance to open one restaurant.
Wow.
So he started Roy Rogers as a franchise group, opened up one store, and has since grown that throughout the 80s and 90s when Hardee's owned it. Then in the mid-90s, Hardee's continued to sell them off, decided it didn't work. They sold about 150 of them. They closed about 150 of them, sold about 350 of them off to McDonald's. So the number got smaller and smaller. And during that time, his two sons, Pete Jr. and Jim, came to work for him. And then in 98, he sold the Roy Rogers that he did have, the number of units that he had grown, to his two sons, who now run it as co-presidents. And then in 2002, Jim and Pete bought the franchise rights back from Hardee's. So that's how we became then in 2002 to be the franchisor of the Roy Rogers name brand. So we now have about 24 corporate stores and about the same number of franchisees throughout the Mid-Atlantic, and we're still operating and growing today.
That's awesome. What would you guys, what do you consider like your signature offering?
Yeah, so we're unique in the sense that we offer beef burgers and chicken. So we've got great hamburgers, fried chicken, and fresh USDA choice roast beef sandwiches. What makes us a little bit unique is all of our burgers come plain, so no fixings. We have in the lobby a fixings bar of lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles, and garnishings, so the customers themselves can make their burger however they want. Now that's a great thing to offer. It makes it a little challenging for those that go through the drive-thru, and a little challenging for those that go and order digitally for delivery. But we've come up with some unique ways that they can still get those condiments and those fixings the way that they want. But customers still come into our restaurants because of the fixings bar. They like making it their own way. Some people get it with 9 pickles, and some people get it with 2 onions. They can make their burgers and their sandwiches their way.
So there's sort of this DIY aspect to it that
Yeah.
I love. And I know you
exactly.
guys have gotten a lot of press over the last few years for growth. I've seen you on a lot of the emerging brands lists, on the growth lists. a lot of magazines have put you guys on. I feel like on these lists that I'm seeing, and a lot of, from what I've heard, is around maybe some innovation that's digital or drive-through, or trying to fix this problem that you've pointed out that's hard to do the DIY model through drive-through or through digital. What kind of moves are you guys making there to make that work?
Yeah, for us and for growth, it's really about resonating with our core customers. We like to call them our royalists who come time and time again. You know, we're always going to have LTOs. We're in the middle of steak and cheese right now. We offer a couple LTOs throughout the year. But for us, it's really that high quality, we consider to be a cut above food quality that keep our customers coming back. So really leveraging great quality products, great hospitality. You got to have both these days to get customers coming back. So really leveraging those two aspects to keep our customers engaged.
I love calling them royalists. That's are there people who maybe have a lot of nostalgia with the brand, who maybe grew up with it, and that are you consider royalists now?
It is, you know, we do a lot of social media advertising and things like that, and our Facebook advertising always generates a lot of old pictures from when they were younger. You know, there were over 600, almost 650 Roy Rogers at the height of, you know, its existence. They were all up and down the Mid-Atlantic from New Jersey all the way down to Virginia, all in the Mid-Atlantic. So people see that, resonate with that, and post pictures, or we get comments. You know, my dad used to work in Newark, New Jersey, or things like that. So it's a great customer base to have for sure.
That's great. So you mentioned that you have to have great product and great hospitality. What does Roy Rogers do, or what do you do to instill a culture of hospitality in your restaurants, especially when we all know what we're up against. We're up against people who maybe have not ever experienced great hospitality, people that you're hiring. There's struggles with hiring, there's struggles with training to really help people understand what great hospitality is and how to deliver that consistently. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think what I like about the brand is, while our fixings bar for everybody to customize their sandwiches maybe is a little bit of a challenge with drive-through or digital, it means that we staff a dining room attendant for about 8 hours a day, from about 10:30, 11 o'clock till almost 8 o'clock at night, 8 to 10 hours, because we need to have somebody constantly in our dining room refilling our lettuce and refilling our pickles and making sure we've got fresh onions. So that bit of hospitality, that we have somebody dedicated to always be taking care of our lobby, checking on our guests, refilling the fixings bar, I think that's something that we won't ever waver from. We can't waver from, because otherwise it would be empty during peak times. So that little bit of hospitality goes a long way.
So you have like a fixins bar concierge.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
What do you guys call it? Do you call it something?
It's just our lobby attendant, our dining room attendant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're known. They're known by our regulars, and you know, people love seeing them, and they know about them, and get a chance to interact with our guests all the time. Some customers who, like your point earlier, some customers who don't come to Roy Rogers very often kind of wonder, why is this person asking me if my food's okay? Why are they talking to me while I'm eating? And you remember, that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to check on our guests and how's your food today and how's your service today, and making sure that our guests are taken care of. Not a lot of brands are still doing that, so it catches some people off guard.
I feel like that concierge or that lobby attendant is a kind of a unique and special position in a fast casual space. Like that's not common. What do you look for when you're putting somebody in a dining room? Or what do you tell your operations leaders, your managers, what to look for when they're putting somebody out there?
First and foremost, we always look for people that are outgoing and engaging. You know, it's easy. It's very cliche to say people person, but we're looking for somebody who is willing to engage with people, interact with people, and that also works with urgency. And they treat that lobby and that fix and spar like it's their own home. That's really the key.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm curious for you personally, what's the experience like been for you to be a part of what some people are calling a comeback brand, right? Where you said at the height, Roy Rogers had 600 plus units all across, in the East Coast, and and now you've seen like some steady growth in the last few years, and you have projected growth plans. What's it like to be a part of what people might call a comeback brand? What's that experience?
Well, it's exciting for me. It's exciting for me to be part of a brand like this. I mentioned Pete Plumondon Sr. started the company, ran the company. Jim and Pete Jr. now run the company. We've just brought on board Pete's son, Jeff, to be third generation to work for the company. So we're a legacy brand, a legacy family brand that's looking to grow. It's exciting for me. As you know, we've talked, my experience was I was on the corporate side of things for a while. I was on the franchise side of things for a while. I was with very large companies and really small companies. This is an organization that's really allowing me to have some input into the growth strategies. Where before some companies you work for, you just kind of you're following the playbook. Here I'm kind of involved in helping to write the playbook, which is really exciting for me.
That's huge. Do you have any advice for somebody who maybe there's a regional leader of one of these large brands? I know you've been a part of a bunch of very well-known, recognizable large brands in like regional leadership. Is there advice that you might give to somebody who is currently with a large brand, regional leadership? Maybe they're just executing on the playbook, but they want to do what you're doing. They want to be helping write the playbook. They want to be in a position, maybe a mid-sized brand, where they're driving and leading strategy. What advice would you give to that person who wants to make that move into a role like yours?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the advice that I would give to somebody like that is the same advice I give to hourly employees who say, how do I become a shift lead? From an assistant manager, how do I become a general manager? A general manager, how do I become a district manager? It's the same advice I give to anybody. I look for and talk about three things to advance your career. One, you've got to be willing to learn. You've got to be your own advocate to learn all the time. Nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come and teach you. You've got to take it upon yourself to always be learning best you can. Two, you got to be willing to work hard. When the line is long, the fryer breaks, right? The headset goes out. You've always got to be willing to work hard no matter the situation. And number three, you got to talk to people with love. You got to be able to be respectful of other people. You've got to understand that they're in a different set of shoes and talk to people with respect and with love. And if you can always be learning, you can always be working hard, and if you can constantly talk to people with respect and in the right manner, sky's the limit for what you want to achieve,
Yeah, that's great. I love that it's the same advice for an hourly employee to a shift leader to a regional multi-unit manager to the operations leader of a brand. It's it's amazing. It's the same. I love it. It's the same stuff. What are you guys seeing right now as sort of your biggest pain point to scale?
Biggest pain point as we continue to scale. Well, I think we're faced with a lot of things that a lot of other concepts are faced with. We're faced with customers that are maybe being more cognizant of how their dollars are being spent out in the market. We're also challenged with labor rates that are constantly going up. Maryland, for example, January 1 goes to $15 an hour. Montgomery County is based upon consumer price index, so they're up over $16 an hour for entry-level positions. And we've got challenges with food cost and with commodity prices of roast beef or burgers or things like that. So our biggest challenge is how do we maintain profitability for not only our corporate stores but for our franchisees, and also balance menu pricing increases against transactional decline. So that's kind of a big answer to a simple question. What is the one challenge? There's a lot of them out there. That
is the challenge. Is the solution to find other ways to cut? I mean, if there's a concern around price increase, which is what everyone is saying, everyone is hearing, is customers don't want price increase. They're tired of it. People are upset. what's the solution? Is it finding other places to cut costs if you can't?
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to save our way out of this.
Right.
I think for us, it's menu optimization. If you take a look at our brand, we offer roast beef, chicken, and burgers. Competitors, Chick-fil-A, for example, Raising Cane's, they offer chicken. So if I could buy just burgers and I didn't buy chicken and I didn't buy roast beef, my buying power would be much bigger, and I could maybe have more economies of scale in purchasing, right, to put me on a better food cost trajectory. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we offer a variety of products to our customers. So what we have to really do is make sure that customers have a great experience with high quality food that, like I said, it's a little bit of a cut above. And it's getting those customers, repeat customers, instead of 1.8 visits per month to now 2.3 visits per month, or whatever the statistic tells us that we should be trying to grow our current customer base to get them to come more often. And then it's also attracting new customers to the brand who have never been to a Roy Rogers before, through different marketing efforts, whether that's social media marketing efforts or local marketing. We do a lot of local marketing here in this area to get new people to try Roy Rogers.
Interesting. So speaking of 1.8 to 2.3 and projected growth and strategy to get there, what does 2024 look like for you guys? What can we expect to see from Roy Rogers in the next 18 months?
Yeah, I think for us, we're taking a look at a lot of different innovation with technology. Somebody once told me technology in your business is like salt in a kitchen. You can have just the right amount to make it work, but if you have too much, it can ruin everything. So balancing the amount of technology that we have in the restaurant's important. And we're taking a look at really different technology platforms to help us with our employee engagement and with our training and retention programs to help meet our employees with where they're at technology-wise in the training process to really kind of create that brand loyalty at the employee level.
Yeah, that's huge. What kind of technology, without naming brands?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. So a couple of things that we're starting to tie together. So we're looking at putting into place a new piece of technology, a training system called Opus. Yeah. Right? There's a number of different training platforms out there. Opus is a little unique because they offer training in kind of a TikTok reel style. So it's mobile, it's on the phone. Employees, it's short video training that's easy for our employees to understand, right? They're swiping through kind of the training videos. Yeah. So that, along with, we have another program that we have for employee engagement and retention called Honor Roll, much like a school honor roll. You're on the honor roll when you're in high school. So that system measures a couple of different KPIs and then awards points to the employee, and then the employee can cash those points in for digital gift cards.
Oh, wow.
So we're rewarding, whether it's speed of service goals or customer experience goals. The employees every day can earn points to then redeem. So when we take a look at tying in, the other thing that we're tying in is we use Tattle, SMG, Tattle. They're all kind of customer engagements. So those three pieces of technology all kind of tie together with each other. So, for example, if we have a store where the guest experience through the customer interaction is saying, hey, this week you had 3 negative surveys around order accuracy, it then, through AI and all that other kind of stuff that's well beyond me, it then talks to our learning system and says, hey, this store is struggling with order accuracy, and it will automatically push out the 3-minute, 6-minute order accuracy learning video to all of the employees in that store. And then the third piece of technology, the honor roll system, will measure and track that and reward the employees when they hit 85% completion for the training video. It will then award them points that they can save up and redeem for a Starbucks card, a Walmart card, or whatever they want. So tying all of that technology together helps meet employee where they're at in the learning, and also rewards them and recognizes them on a platform that they can choose. You remember, the old days you used to go around and you give out gift cards to somewhere. Well, who knows if that employee ever shopped at that place or used that place. This allows them. We find some people will cash it in every week for a $5 Starbucks card. Great, they get to treat themselves. We'll also find that some of our employees will save up for a month or 2 months and cash it in for a $30 or a $40 Walmart card that may be going to help them out in a way that they've buying something for their kids or using it for whatever they need. But it's a way to reward and recognize our teams at the level that they're at, not forcing recognition on them in a way that is what we think recognition is.
I love that. So is there, and this is, I'm very interested in this, so I'd like to know, is there something on the back end? Is there a third party that is tying them all together, or do they out of the box work together like Tattle?
No, they don't work together automatically. So it's all open API, tying them all together, and that's director of IT kind of coordinates with those different vendors and different partners to make they all talk to each other somehow.
Okay. So but they are somehow integrating to do what you said, which was like, hey, there was a problem through.
Yep, they're pulling data every night. They're pulling data once a week. The one system is talking to the other. They're pulling that data, and then they're self-formulating what the action plan is. So it also loosens the load for the district managers, right?
Yeah.
They can get a quick roll-up of what are my opportunities, where do I need to go teach, where do I go need to train, and it takes that away, that admin time where they would have to sit down and say, all right, what are my results in this category, what are my results in this category, and what is my result over here with all of these different systems in our tech stack. They can simply take a look and say, all right, through AI and machine learning or the right terminology, they're able to say, here's my opportunity, here's what I'm going to coach on, here's what I'm going to go and follow up on. It kind of does some of that legwork for us.
Does the employee experience honor roll through an app?
It's all on their phone. Yeah. So the greatest thing that it does is there's a daily trivia quiz that's worth 2 points. So 2 points is not a whole lot. When you equate points to dollars, it's not a whole lot. But every day they get a text message with today's honor roll quiz. Sometimes it could be something as easy as an unfortunate, what was the score of last night's Baltimore Orioles Texas Rangers game, which didn't go our way. And sometimes it's how long do you wash your hands for during our hand washing procedure, or how long do you cook? What's the temperature you cook chicken for? Or it could be do you feel like you've been trained adequately for the position you're in? And so there's some employee engagement sort of questions. So it's a mix of kind of standards and policy and procedure questions to keep those top of mind, along with just some fun trivia questions to keep them going. And then, it's a way to keep them active and engaged for sure.
That's really great. It will be cool to see. I would love to hear in a year what the results are of having this new tech kind of installed and see the results of it.
Yeah, we started it off measuring our speed of service and our customer engagement, those two, and also time and attendance. So if you clocked in or out within 7 minutes of your time, you earn points, right? And then our customer experience rating through Tattle, we were right around a company average on a 5-point scale. We were right around 3.8, which wasn't great, right? It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. We've increased that in a 5-month time period from 3.8 to 4.2. So we're improving our guest experience just because everybody knows every day, hey, we could earn more points. Let's make sure we deliver a great guest experience. Let's make sure we triple check bags for order accuracy. Let's make sure that we're keeping fresh fries and not serving cold fries. So it definitely has helped improve on the back end for us some of our KPIs.
That's huge. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else to look to see that we should expect to see in 2024?
Yeah, I think those are some of the big things, right? Is how are we integrating technology into our stores just the right amount to make it more engaging for our team and help us deliver better operations.
That's awesome. What's it like for you? One more thing I'm curious is you've spent most of your career maybe more operations focused. Is that correct? Is that fair
Yeah.
to say? And now you oversee marketing, right? What is that like? Is that a whole new world?
It is, and there's a lot of conversations that are a little above my head, I'll admit.
Yeah.
I don't know all the intricacies of marketing and search engine optimization and all of those kind of things. What I do know, though, is what our customers are looking for. And I do know what our customers expect out of us. And my role is really just to help craft the strategy with our marketing team to lead them down that path. They want great quality food. They want a great experience. Sometimes they like a great deal as well that comes along with it. But really, I help just kind of craft a strategy, and then the marketing team here does a really great job. And our advertising firm that we partner with as well, they do a really nice job with all of those things, kind of tie them all together.
That's right. That's awesome. Well, Adam, thank you for the insight. Really appreciate it. Love hearing a little bit about the Roy Rogers story and about where you guys are going. And just wish you continued success in this fairly new role to you. How long have you been in this current role?
It's going to be just coming up on 1 year now.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. You're almost at the 1 year mark. So
Yep.
thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Matt. I appreciate being here.
Awesome.